go ahead and do this shit. Alrighty, everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Liberty Bowl live stream. Um, so today I'm going to be talking about the school shooting that went on. The the ex student shoots three dead children, or sorry, ex student shoots dead three children and three adults at a Tennessee Christian school. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the article real quick. All right, so from Nashville, Tennessee, March 22nd, a heavily armed 28-year-old fatally shot three children and three adult staffers on Monday at a private Christian school. The suspect once attended in Tennessee's capital city before police killed the assailant, authorities said. The motive was not immediately known, but the suspect had drawn detailed maps of the school, including entry points for the building, and left behind a manifesto and other writings that investigators were examining, Police Chief John Drake told reporters. Right? They always seem to have a manifesto, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if they're actually manifestos or if they're like a lot of these are just some notebook fucking sketches that they found in the person's at the person's home or something like that. But anyway, the latest in an epidemic of deadly mass gun violence that has come to routinely terrorize even the most cherished of U.S. institutions unfolded on a warm spring morning at the Covenant School, whose students consist mostly of elementary school aged children. Drake identified the suspect as Audrey Elizabeth Hale, age 28, a resident of the Nashville area, and referred to the assailant by female pronouns, right? So when I was reading this article earlier, this was the first red flag, like female pronouns. Oh, yeah, you guys already know. I mean, obviously from the title, you guys already know. They're a trans person, right? So the chief said the suspect identified as transgender, but provided no further clarity. The Tennessean newspaper cited a police spokesperson saying Hale used he/him pronouns. Hale used male pronouns on a LinkedIn page that listed recent jobs in graphic design and grocery delivery. All right, you're gonna see in a little bit. We're gonna show you the video of the police chief basically answering at a press conference, and he kind of conflicts this part right here. Either way, all of this whole fucking pronouns thing and the whole transgender identity fucking crisis bullshit that we have going on right now, it's obviously confusing, right? I don't know what this person is. I don't know what they identify as. I honestly have no fucking clue. We have conflicting stories, and it's it's a common thing with this whole transgender ideology stuff. It seems like it's really just just a thing to confuse people. It seems like it's just to sow I don't know, doubt in everything, right? It's actually kind of my theory on the transgender movement. It's somewhat similar with the whole like flat earth movement and shit, where basically it's all just basically almost a ploy or a experiment on human gullibility, right? To see just how far you can undermine a person's belief in things that they know to be basic common knowledge, right? Like the fact that I'm a male, right? So that's my whole theory on it. Of course, the whole transgender movement, as opposed to any other type of movement, does end up having a lot more lifelong devastating effects rather than just believing that the Earth is flat or something like that. But either way, that's my whole theory on it, right? So. Police later released a school video showing the assailant blasting through glass doors with gunfire and roaming the halls pointing a semi-automatic rifle. Hale wore a black vest over a white t-shirt, camouflage pants, and a backwards red baseball cap in a video that showed only the shooter in the frame. Addressing an early evening news conference, Drake said police were working on a theory about what may have precipitated the shooting and would put that out as soon as we make it up. All right, so he said the suspect had no known prior criminal history. In a subsequent NBC News television interview, Drake said investigators believe the shooting stemmed from some resentment the suspect harbored for having to go to that school as a younger person. All right, so as we mentioned, this is a Christian school. This person has obviously, I don't know, maybe they got they were out of line and they got disciplined more than the other kids at school. But whatever their story, they clearly hold some sort of resentment at this school. The fact that they took it out on kids as well, it's it's a very very sad thing. I mean, that's a not something that you really like to report about or talk about. And anything involving children, as you guys know, I always hold a special place in my heart for children. I believe that children are probably the only thing that the government needs to protect their well-being, right? And I don't know, to an extent, right? Of course, everything when it comes to government and policy and politics in general, it's always going to be a slippery slope fallacy where basically you can say like, oh, protect the kids from this, and it's going to eventually fall into something worse, right? And the reason for this is because government, these bureaucracies, all these branches, basically what they do, the way that they establish power and the way that they keep us basically, let's go and switch it over, right? And so the way that they keep us basically, believing in government, right? Because this isn't a life a human history span type thing. This is actually not a very long history of these types of government, right? These types of government that basically are supposed to be there for the well-being, right? The the quality of life, right? These governments that basically offer benefits rather than what their basic original need was, which was basically a central a you know generally, I mean, the civilizations really kind of started out as more like religious leaders, and basically if you go even farther back, it started out as essential chiefdoms, basically the head of the tribe or whatever, essentially the silverback idea, right? That's the person that ended up kind of running things and kind of holding things down as a essential kind of human need, right? We do have that herd mentality, right? And so basically what these government agencies have learned to do is they come to power and they do all these benefits and all this type of shit in a way to try to legitimize their need, right? Basically you get all these people dependent on government systems and stuff, and essentially the government can never go away, right? That is the basic plan. That's they literally have to give themselves a purpose. They have to make us believe that we cannot live without them, right? That's the whole thing, right? And I'm not saying that complete anarchy, nothing like that. Obviously that would never work because of the way that human beings are wired, right? We are always going to naturally revert back to a hierarchical system. So a lot of the more recent the more enlightenment philosophers and stuff like that, they would basically argue that a type of government apparatus is essential to ensure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and stuff like that. And basically the idea of natural rights and stuff was basically where the start of these types of governments came from, right? So originally, before, they were, like I said, they were kind of more or less run by the church. It was kind of a monarchical system, and essentially before that they started out as chiefdoms. So they all have worked toward legitimization. That's the essential goal of all sorts of leadership roles, all sorts of government. It's the essential goal of basically leaders since the beginning of human history, right? So what they're going to do is basically, like I said, try to give out all these perks and shit like that to try and legitimize themselves. I forgot what I originally started on this with, but okay, all right, that's what it was, right? So they're holding some sort of resentment and shit like that, and the reason for it is because they had to abide by some sort of rules and shit like that, and of course that's their way of bucking back and shit like that. All right, so let's get back to the article here. The police chief did not specify the nature of such presumed resentment or whether it had anything to do with the suspect's gender identity or the Christian orientation of the school. Drake said the school was singled out for attack, but the individual victims were targeted at random. All right, so again, like I was saying, it's really, really fucked up that the basically anybody that is too barbaric and essentially too weak of a human being to figure out their problems for themselves, to basically, yes, life sucks. Life sucks for everybody. That's the way that it goes. Nobody has it easy. Nobody in the fucking world has it easy. Even somebody that has all the goddamn money in the world, everybody's trying to fucking knock them off their pedestal. You think they have it easy? No, that's not the way that the world works. The world is not meant to be easy. We have to basically work. We have to basically work to live. That's the way that it goes. That's the way that it's always gone. The way that it's gone since the first days of going out and plucking an apple from a fucking tree. that's essentially doing some fucking work so you can live, right? Basically, people have become too coddled and too accustomed to, again, all these government benefits, and essentially, it's gotten down to the point of demagoguery, where basically these people like, oh, like vote me in, and I'm gonna cure cancer, fucking, I'm gonna cure Alzheimer's, all this shit, I'm gonna relieve your student debt, all that. It's basically they know what these people want to hear, and that's what they're going to preach from the top of their lungs, right? So, swift police response. The Metropolitan Nashville Police Department began receiving calls at 10:13 a.m. of a shooter at the school, and arriving officers reported hearing gunfire coming from the building's second floor. Police spokesperson Don Aaron told reporters 2 officers from a 5-member team shot the assailant in a lobby area, and the suspect was pronounced dead by 10:27. All right, definitely a night and day difference from what we saw with the Uvalde shooting, right? Where they were basically sitting there, getting hand sanitizer, just kind of hanging around, like, oh, we're waiting for backup, right? So here, a team of 5 fucking officers went in, dropped the guy. What was it? From 10:13 to 10:27. What is that? 13 minutes, 14 minutes, 14 minutes. That's all it took, right? See, the police department response was swift, Aaron said. Police said the suspect was armed with 2 assault-type guns and a 9mm pistol. The victims were identified as Evelyn Dickhouse, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney, all age 9, along with staffer Mike Hall, 61, a school custodian, Cynthia Peak, 61, a substitute teacher, and Catherine Kuntz, 60, listed and on the Covenant website as head of school. All right, so again, this, you obviously feel for these people. You could imagine, this being part of, members of your own family. This isn't the type of stuff that anybody wants to, really be reading about or anything like. Of course, who am I kidding? It's the stuff that everybody wants to be reading about, and that's the problem with it, right? We all love a slow moving car crash. We all love watching a train wreck, right? We love tragedy, right? That's the whole thing about it, is we just love tragedy, and we get off on it, right? So I don't know. I really like that joke Chris Rock made. If you guys haven't seen Chris Rock's latest stand-up special on Netflix, definitely go check it out. Totally fucking awesome. But he basically makes he points out that the biggest addiction in America right now is attention, right? That's what everybody's craving right now, and there's he points out there's 3 ways to get it, right? So one is do some outlandish fucking stupid shit like this, going and shooting up a school. That's becoming a common thing. That's becoming a common way that these people try to seek attention. All right. Then he says, another one is trying to shake your ass and all that type of shit. And I forgot what the other one was, but either way, basically all these people want is attention, and that's all these people want to read is tragedy. And it's essentially the media industry and all that shit is basically, they know that's what keeps the people glued to it, and then they work hand in hand with the politicians, because they're only going to report on stuff like this. They're never going to report on like the Indiana Mall shooter. Yeah, you guys don't really remember that one because he was fucking stopped by a good guy with a gun. They don't fucking report that type of shit because that's not the type of shit that people are going to be afraid about, and people are going to go ahead and look to some sort of benevolent government leaders to go ahead and protect them, right? I feel like that's going to be the name of the game, moving forward for, the Democrat Party, here in these next few years, because obviously they can't go off of, being, the party of the people and stuff like that. They're obviously the party of big government. They're obviously the party of people, getting all these subsidies for all these companies that they also invest in. And basically, they're the epitome of doing well for themselves by doing good, right? And that's that's essentially Democrats in a nutshell. And so that's why I believe their next campaign ploy for the next several years is going to be safety. You need us to keep you safe. I mean, that's always kind of been their thing, but I feel like they're going to push it hard now, especially with the idea that MAGA might be coming into office real soon. They're going to basically try and make it seem that everything is so much worse than it actually is, right? And that's going to be their game plan for the next few years moving forward is I feel like it's going to be all about keeping you safe, right? Even protecting you from yourself. That's going to be the big one too. All right, so let's go ahead and check out some of these other. Let's go ahead and check out the police chief. Let's go ahead and check out his you know, I don't know, his press conference about it, right?
No history at all.
And no motive at this point? Anything discovered in the apartment or house?
No, we have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this day, the actual incident. We have a map drawn out of how this was all going to take place. There's right now a theory of that we may be able to talk about later, but it's not confirmed, and so we'll put that out as soon as we can.
And Chief, is there any reason to believe that how she identifies with white?
I'm sorry, I knocked someone's mic over. I didn't hear you. Say that again, sir.
Is there any reason to believe that how she identifies has any motive for targeting the school?
We can give you that at a later time. There is some theory to that. We're investigating all the leads, and once we know exactly, we'll let you know.
So what's the
I mean, obviously that's what it's about, right? You know, like I was saying, you know, this person obviously did not get along with the type of, you know, teaching that they were being given over at this school. I'm sure they were the type of person that was getting disciplined more than the other people, and obviously, you know, it trickled down through their live stream. Basically, they'd never moved on from this supposed trauma of having to be told what to do and how to be a good person and that type of shit. And essentially they never moved on from the supposed trauma, and now they basically this is what happens to it, right? I'll be very, very adamant about it, and you will never ever ever hear me say that we should have any sort of regulations whatsoever on guns, right? Of course, yes, I know, you know, it's a sad situation, all that stuff, and that's the type of stuff that they're always going to try and push, right? Notice every single time any sort of shooting goes on, Biden's right out there talking about, you know, we need to ban assault weapons, ban them, any type of weapon that could assault somebody. We need to get rid of them, right? And obviously, it's because they know that they're becoming overreaching in their attempts to basically buy votes, right? Like I said, they're doing well by doing good, right? Essentially, they're doing good is buying votes and basically offering free shit at the expense of other people in exchange for votes and calling it, you know, equity and whatnot, right?
Is this a targeted attack?
It was.
Do we know about a history of mental illness? Man or woman?
Don't know any history of mental illness at this time, but we are looking at that as the investigation is ongoing. And I'm sorry.
She identifies as a transgender man or woman?
Woman.
See, like I was saying earlier, that was the part that was kind of confusing, because in the Reuters article, it says that they identify as a male, and that they put, you know, on there. So maybe, you know, it's a biological male that identifies as a woman, and, you know, essentially that's, you know, probably one of the main reasons that they got, you know, picked on so much in these Christian schools and whatnot. And essentially getting picked on probably isn't the word, you know, I should use. Essentially being shamed, right? So in American society, and basically, you know, in Western society, we look at shame as a bad thing, right? Shame is not good. You should not feel ashamed of who you are. You should not feel ashamed of the way that you act. You should not feel ashamed of the way that you conduct yourself. And that is the big problem that we have going on here in America, is that we have lost the virtue of shame. We no longer feel that, you know, basically if you're doing something bad, you know, say if you're out there, you know, begging on the streets, some dirty old clothes, you know, nothing wrong with you. That's just the way that you live, right? Somebody comes by and says, go get a fucking job, bum. I ain't giving you shit, which is what I do every time I come across them. I'm looked at as a bad guy then. Why? No, go get a fucking job, dude. Ain't nothing wrong with your ass. But just because of the fact that I'm shaming this person, that makes me the bad guy, right? Same thing with somebody that's overweight, or some, you know, same thing with, you know, people that are way too in your face with the you know, literally their entire lives revolve around their sexuality, right? If you tell these people, dude, like, I don't give a shit about your fucking, you know, surgeries and your hormone therapies and all this and that type shit, I don't fucking care. If anything, shit, you're fucking stupid because you're fucking sterilizing yourself, you know. But all that type of shit, if I go out and actually say that to these people in their face, then I'm looked at as a mean, right? But it's not mean. It's telling you the truth. It's telling you what reality is. And that's what a lot of these people are afraid of. They're afraid of what reality is, right? They don't understand reality. Reality is scary to them because reality means that you actually have to do stuff. You actually have to think for yourself, right? And that is scary to them because these people have been so institutionalized. And I don't mean institutionalized. I mean, I'm technically, institutionalized from schools and shit like that. It's essentially a mild version of prison, right? Schools and prisons, there's a reason that they serve you the same fucking food on the same goddamn days, right? But anyway, yeah, that's I forgot where the fuck I was going. Let's get back to this fucking thing. Oh, yeah, sorry. Like we have lost the virtue of shame here in America, and that's essentially what is leading to all of this transgender ideology and all these bullshit going on, right?
Was this the only school that was targeted?
It was the only school that was targeted. There was another location that was mentioned, but because of a threat assessment by the suspect, there's too much security, they decided not to. And that area was here in Nashville, so we're continuing with that investigation as well. Right now, we believe it's a lone assailant, and we don't anticipate any further damage at this time.
All right. So let's go ahead and check out old Joe Biden's, because you already know Joe Biden never misses a chance to capitalize on a tragedy. So let's go ahead and check out Joe Biden. Of course, he's going to repeat the same rhetoric that he always tends to repeat. Basically, this is tearing the soul of our nation apart, blah, blah, blah. We need to ban assault weapons. I'm calling on Congress now. Ban them. Yeah, let's go ahead and check it out.
Before I begin to speak, the reason I spend a little time on the kids, I just want to speak very briefly about the school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. Ben and I have been doing this our whole careers, it seems. And it's just, it's sick. We're still gathering the facts of what happened and why. And we do know that as of now, there are a number of people who did not make it, including children. It's heartbreaking, a family's worst nightmare. And I want to commend the police who responded incredibly swiftly, within minutes, to end the danger. We're monitoring the situation really closely, Ben, as you know. And we have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart, ripping the soul of this nation, ripping at the very soul of the nation. And we have to do more to protect our schools so they aren't turned into prisons. The shooter in this situation reportedly had 2 assault weapons and a pistol, 2 AK-47. So I call on Congress again to pass my assault weapons ban.
Ban them. Ban assault weapons. Let's not turn our schools into prisons. Yeah, just ban assault weapons. Let's turn our fucking nation into a prison. Yeah. So I personally am okay with my fucking kids going through goddamn metal detectors. Let's be straight here. I'm not trying to send my kids to any sort of public schools, right? I'm trying to shit. If anything, if I have to, I'll fucking homeschool myself, right? They're going to get a damn good education from dad, right? I'm actually excited for the day that my kids start asking me a million questions, because they're probably going to get through one, then I'm going to give them a 45-minute explanation, and they're probably never going to ask me a question again, right? But either way, I am okay with, kids having to go through metal detectors when they go into schools. I am okay with having armed guards at schools. I am okay with teachers carrying fucking pistols at school. I'm okay with all of that. I'm even okay with what we're trying to do here in Arizona. We're trying to fucking give shooting lessons to kids at schools. We're trying to teach kids how to handle these so-called assault weapons, right? We're essentially, giving these kids training and stuff like that here in Arizona. I am all for that. I'm all for that. If anything, I feel it's beyond necessary, and at this point, gun safety should be a thing that we should be teaching in school, right? So let's go ahead and check out this last video here. It's basically ABC, and they're going to go ahead, and you already know which way they're going to try and spin it. You already know what they're going to try and push. You already know their whole reasoning for why this happened. You already know it's because Tennessee don't like the trans people, so they were picking on him, right? The shooter here is the victim in this ABC News fucking mentality Check it out.
All right, that is Police Chief John Drake of Nashville, who is briefing reporters on the deadly grade school shooting in Nashville at the Covenant School there this morning. The police confirming 6 dead.
Yo, what the fuck's up with his eyes? This guy straight looks like a lizard, like a literal lizard. Like, the fuck's wrong with you, man? Like, this guy's creepy as fuck.
3 children, 1 8 years old, 2 9 years old, and 3 adults, including Catherine Kuntz, who is the head of the Covenant School. The police chief also said that the shooter has been identified as 28-year-old female Audrey Hale. He said she's a former student of the school and confirmed that Audrey Hale was identified herself as a transgender person.
Right? So identified themselves as a transgender person. So again, I'm getting to the conclusion that this person was a male. That's why it was probably put on their LinkedIn profile that they identify as a male, because they are a fucking male. Right? I don't give a fuck. You're not a fucking woman. You are a man. There is no such thing as a chick with a dick. There's just men with tits. Right? There's no fucking such thing. And just the fact that we are entertaining all these ideas that these people are what they identify as is in their mind is the whole reason that all this shit's going on, right? It's the whole reason that we're on this fucking slippery slope. And basically it's been going on since, way back in the day, the whole I forget what it is, the big old scares and shit like that. I forget the actual term they use for them, but basically when they say that like rap music is going to lead to increase in gun violence and stuff like that, or it's going to increase in gang violence, which it does, or the whole fucking gay marriage is going to eventually end up leading to let's trans your kids, which it did, right? Yeah, I forgot where I was going with all of this, right? But either way, so this person does identify as a transgender woman, but they are not a woman. They are a man. And the whole reason is because we condone it. We allow it to happen, right? We allow these people to basically, they play off of the whole Christian morality of being tolerant and accepting of other people and stuff, right? If you're a Christian and stuff like that, and you go out there and start basically out there being an evangelical and basically out there Bible thumping on people and stuff like that, you're basically shamed. If you're out there preaching the word of God, you are basically shamed here in America. But if you're out there preaching to 12 and 13-year-old children to dress up as women and go ahead and get on stage and strip for old men, then you're fucking hailed as all-inclusive and such a great person and all this and that type bullshit, right? That's basically where we come to in America. All right, so right now he's gonna go ahead and switch it up, and he's gonna try and he's gonna point out the motives for you. He knows all about why this happened.
State of Tennessee earlier this month passed and the governor signed a bill that banned transgender medical care for minors, as well as a law that prohibited adult entertainment, including male and female impersonators, after a series of drag show controversies in that state.
Yeah, drag show controversies in that state. You mean like, as I was just saying, children out there shaking it for fucking grown-ass adults, and or vice versa. Grown-ass men out there in thongs and fucking fake tits, all this shit, out there shaking it for children. Children actually going up and putting dollars in their thongs. Yeah, all that shit is wildly inappropriate. All that shit should be banned, right? All these fucking liberals out here, all these... The funny thing is, like I said, basically, they play off of the tolerance morality, the whole Christian morality and stuff like that, and they basically play off of our good nature, right? What they don't understand, though, is they've gotten to the point where we're at the actual tipping point. If they are successful in banning free speech and all that shit, what's the first thing that Republicans are going to do once they take office? Decency laws. No fucking pride parades ever again. That shit is done. That's the first thing that is going to fucking take place once Republicans take power, if they were to ever get rid of freedom of speech, right? Essentially, your fucking way of life is done. Basically, the whole reason that you guys are even able to exist is because we have laws that say we have to fucking tolerate your way of life. And it goes both ways. And really, I mean, I'll tolerate you, but again, like I said, when it comes to attacking the children, no. All right. When it comes to you trying to force me to respect your pronouns, no. I'm gonna call it as I see it. Right. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I'm gonna call a fucking someone that looks like a fucking male a male. If you have 5 o'clock fucking shadow and you just fucking put on some eyeliner and fucking a dress, no, you're a fucking dude in a dress. Right? Like I said, there's no such thing as chicks with dicks. There is only dudes with tits. All right? Remember that, people. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to the chat, so I don't really know if anybody is actually watching this right now. But if you guys are, I appreciate you. Go ahead and say hello in the chat. But we are going to hit a dab here. I just refilled it. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and hit a dab real quick, and then we're probably going to go ahead and get on out of here. Keep this one a little bit short, not trying to be on here all night, but it's been fun chilling. Let's see, anybody in the chat? Nope. Anybody on the live streams? Let's see. Oh, I got 2 viewers. Oh, 4 viewers. That's pretty cool. All right, well, I appreciate you guys, man. It's it's been fun. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and hit a dab right here in a second. So you got about 3 more minutes, something like that, of bullshitting, man. But to go ahead and wrap it all up, like I said, Biden is the type of person, the Democrats in general, the type of people to never let a good tragedy go to waste, and clearly they're showing that here. All right. Again, their whole thing is they need to legitimize themselves. They basically need people to believe that you cannot do without them. You basically need people to believe that people cannot come together voluntaristically, that people basically need to be forced to do stuff. Right? People, I don't know, essentially cannot think for themselves. People need the government to come in and make things equal. Equality has never been a thing ever. And every time it has been attempted, it has always been, devastatingly horrible. But we ignore that and we continue to try, right? So the one thing that the left always seems to hope for, but is never going to end up getting, is abundance, right? Because in order to have abundance, you need to have motivation. If people aren't motivated, they're not going to fucking produce, right? They think that people are just going to produce off of the goodness of their hearts, but that is not reality. That's not the way that people work. People are motivated by things like capital. That is the reason that capitalism is king, and capitalism will always be king, right? People need to be motivated, right? So abundance of opportunity will provide for abundance, right? All right, well, here we go. Some good shit. Alrighty, so those of you that did hang out, watch the whole show, I appreciate you. Go ahead and drop a like. If you just happen to be checking this show out later, go ahead and drop me a like. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you can. Go ahead and subscribe to me on Rumble. I am trying to get over to up to 100 subscribers on Rumble, so that way I can actually live stream. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe.